بینەرانی خۆشەویستی کەناڵی ئاسمانی کورسات ئەمڕۆ لە شاری لەندەن بە پێویستمان زانی چاپێککەوتنێک لەگەڵ مستەر زەهاوی کاندیدای سەرکەوتووی پارتی پارێزگاران لە بەریتانیا بکەین بۆ پەرلەمانی بەریتانیا بە پێویستمان زانی کە لەسەر ژیان و لەسەر دەرچوونی بۆ ناو پەرلەمانی بەریتانیاەوە هەروەها قۆناغەکانی ژیانی مستەر زەهاوی بە ئێوە ئاشنا بکەین بۆ بە پێویستمان زانی لە نزیکەوە ئەم چاپێککەوتنە لەگەڵ مستەر زەهاویە ساس بکەین. Mr. Zahawi, first of all, I would like to thank you for participating in this interview with the Kursa channel and congratulate you for becoming a member of parliament.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you. I would like to start interview with asking question about success you have achieved in your life and what qualification do you have, and did this qualification help your political achievement?
Well, essentially, what helps your political achievement is you joining a political party. I think my qualifications as an engineer from University College London and then as a businessman over the last 11 years I've built a very small company to becoming a public company on the London Stock Exchange. Both helped because essentially people want to see someone who has real experience of the real world going to Westminster to legislate on behalf of the nation. But you have to put in the time as a politician. I started 17 years ago by joining the Conservative Party. I then became a councillor in Wandsworth Council for 12 years. And I stood for Parliament in 1997 in that election in South East London, where I didn't win, I actually lost. But you need a track record and you need time where people can see that you've been an activist for the Conservative Party or whichever party you join.
Yeah. Could you tell us more about your past political achievement that have helped you to become a member of Parliament?
Sure. As I was saying to you,
yeah.
I joined the party in Putney. I became a councillor in Wandsworth Council. I spent 12 years, so 3 terms. I fought 3 elections and I won 3 times. I then decided to stand for Parliament in 1997 in Erith and Thamesmead in South East London. That was a very, very good experience for me, just to understand how a parliamentary election, a general election works. Obviously that election, the Conservative Party did very badly. If you remember, that was the victory for Tony Blair, the first Labour victory. I then spent 11 years in business and then decided to go back into politics for this election because I believe my country, the United Kingdom, is in terrible trouble economically and it needs real fixing. And I hope some of my experience in business will help deliver that fix in the next few years.
Yeah. Why do you think the Conservative Party did not achieve having the majority of seats after the 2010 election, which resulted in hung parliament and coalition with the Liberal Democrat Party?
Well, I think several things happened. I think essentially we won the election because our manifesto was the one that people were most attracted to, the manifesto for real change for our country. We had 13 years of Labour where all power was centred in Whitehall, big departments, big spending departments, lots of central control, very little happening locally for people, whether in hospitals or schools or with their police force and so on. And we came with a very fresh manifesto about change, about taking power back to the people locally, about dealing with the deficit. We have a terrible budget deficit. We're borrowing £500 million a day at the moment. That is unsustainable. So our manifesto for actually balancing the books but creating an enterprise economy with real power being devolved down to people was what people were attracted to. Unfortunately, they didn't give us a clear majority. We didn't get to 325 seats that we needed to get to. We got to 307, which isn't bad. And so that's the realities. But we put our country first before our party, and we decided to go into coalition, a real coalition, with the Liberal Democrats. And they, quite rightly, negotiated in good faith, and we formed this very strong coalition, which I believe will last for the next 5 years.
Okay, what are the major differences between the Conservative Party and Labour Party in attacking the debt crisis in Great Britain is suffering from these days?
Well, the real difference is Labour didn't want to tackle it. I mean, we saw after the election, when we managed to look at the books, once we took over government and our ministers were in office, you saw Liam Byrne, the ex-Chief Secretary of the Treasury, the Labour Chief Secretary of the Treasury, saying that there's no money left. Good luck to you, to his successor. And so the difference was Labour, the past 12 or 18 months, essentially let go of any real control over government spending, which is a terrible thing. to have happened to our country. The difference was we said we will deal with the deficit immediately, and you saw within 2.5 weeks the Chancellor of the Exchequer, George Osborne, managed to deliver £6.25 billion worth of savings. Now, that is a small amount of savings compared to the size of the deficit that we have. So we need to do more work in this area. But the real difference is we're going to give people locally, in Stratford-on-Avon, my constituency, all over the country, they will have more say over the elected politicians, whether it be who run the police force, for example. Never been done before, but we're saying we will allow people to have a police commissioner for their area who is responsible to deliver for them what they want to see out of the policing service. They will have more power over planning, so councils will have much more power to decide what level of demand they have for housing and what they need to build and where, in consultation with local people. So that's a real difference between us giving power to the people and Labour for 13 years holding power in Whitehall, in Westminster, away from the people.
You have become an inspiration for Kurdish youth in the United Kingdom, and therefore I would like to ask you some question related to Kurdish immigrant in the UK. How would you advise Kurdish immigrant in the United Kingdom to improve their lives?
Well, I did a Kurdish dinner last week, which was fantastic for me. That was organised by the KRG here. Yeah. And the number of young people who came over was quite inspirational. And it's very important for young people. Kurdish youth are very talented. What they need to do is get involved, whether professionally by becoming doctors and lawyers and accountants and engineers, or politically. They can join the Conservative Party, and if they don't like the Conservative Party, I'd love them to join the Liberal Democratic Party or any other party of their choice. But they need to get involved in their community, in having a civic responsibility, becoming a governor of their local school, becoming a councillor in their council, standing for parliament. We need to integrate. The great thing about the Kurdish nation is that it is full of talent. It is people who want to better themselves. And the way you go about it is by getting involved in your community. So my message to the Kurdish youth is get involved.
It means there's opportunity for everyone to get involved with everything in the United Kingdom?
Very much so. You will find if you go out and not be shy and go and find out where your local Conservative association is, find out who your MP is, and you write to them and say, I want to join the Conservative Party. I am a Kurd, I'm a British Kurd, I'm living in this country, I'm part of this country, and I want to be an activist, I want to become a governor of my school. You will find people will welcome them with open arms. The doors will be open for them. And we need to get more involved because that's the way we better ourselves.
To your opinion, what image do Kurds have among the UK population?
Well, I think Kurds have a very positive image in the sense that the UK population have been supporters of the Kurdish cause. If you remember back in the 90s, there was a very big concert, which I was involved with, called the Simple Truth Concert for Kurdish refugees to highlight the plight of the Kurds and the persecution of the Kurds by Saddam Hussein and his evil regime. So the people's perception of the Kurds here are of people who have had a very raw deal, a very bad deal from the governments that they happen to reside within. And that's, in a way, something that we can build upon, i.e. we need to always remind people that the Kurds have been persecuted over decades, but at the same time the Kurds have always tried to essentially use all that is at their means, but within the legal framework of campaigning and of trying to resist that sort of persecution rather than going out of the legal framework.
Yeah. It's true that in one of your interviews with the Kurdish press you have stated that you support the law pro-deporting illegal Kurdish immigrants in this country.
I am in support of essentially dealing with all illegal immigrants, nothing to do with Kurds or any other nationality. The problem we have in this country